what I literally thought we'd do is work through the monitoring form as you will do on your own site, so then you'll have a copy of the completed one by the end to sort of refer to if you find that useful. So the front page is sort of bits of background about the site that can give us a lot of information by you answering the questions. So the sites where you'll be visiting, a lot of them are going to be introducing grazing, and they might not necessarily have been grazing there before. So by you being able to tell us that there is grazing and by which kind of stock, that will give us an idea of whether the land manager is doing as we've suggested, and the resulting species that you then record having any positive or negative impact by the grazing animals. So the first question is, you can work through those at the beginning, or maybe as you want, sort of as you're going around, you can be thinking about it. So the bare ground, scrub and whatnot, it might be useful to have a good idea of the whole site before you start answering them. But they're just general questions. And then
sorry, when it says grazing, does it mean when you're actually there is it being grazed, or is it obvious that it has been grazed?
Either.
Okay.
If you want to write any more detail, any more on the form, just scribble anything extra on. So if you want to say that there is stock in the field when you're there, then by all means say so. But yeah, if you can see that there's any evidence of grazing, and if you can work out what it is, then yeah, that'd be great. And then the next section on the form is for anything else that you see, birds, and any other mammals, so you can just put those in the box. And also, if once you've written them in the box at the bottom, if you can, on the scale of map that you provided with, put a mark on showing where they were on the map, that's quite useful as well. But if you can't, don't worry about it. So butterflies or anything else that you want to notice if you're walking around, that's also useful information that's worth recording.
One of the ones I wasn't sure what you meant specifically about when you say pernicious weeds, is it sort of like docks, ragwort?
Yeah.
That's
it would have been useful actually looking at that now to give you a list. But
right.
It's that kind of thing, thistles, nettles, docks.
Right.
That can answer a lot of questions for us if there's overgrazing and poaching during the winter, or
right.
high nutrients, if there's a lot of thistles and things, that can be
I was going to say hogweed, is that another one?
Yeah. Creeping thistle, but presumably not. Not so much the other thistle.
Yeah.
So if we just put next to pernicious weeds, specify if possible.
That'd be really useful. Today's a bit of a guinea pig test out of the farm as well. So then if you go on to the next page, you should have a location map. And then the aerial photograph, you'll see it's got a W written on it. So the idea is that you follow the line of the W, monitoring quadrats as you go along. So think on the form it suggests doing 10 quadrats, and as we get onto the form where you're writing the species down, there's 10 columns to fill in. But the idea is then if somebody else did the same survey, they'd be able to follow the same route, and you would have a general idea. And if you could mark where you start and finish the W as well, that's useful. So that if there's something particularly interesting, we can sort of roughly work out where the location would be along the W. But just to get a general idea of what's across the site. You won't pick everything up. There's the opportunity at the end to have a walk around, and if you've noticed anything that you haven't picked up while you've been walking the W, you can add that into the form at the end. Page 3. This is where you start filling the species in. The first quadrat that you do, you'll probably find the majority of the species that you're going to find, and you've put them all under the species name and at that side. And then as you'll see, there's 1 to 10 across the top. So the second quadrat that you look at, you'd probably just be able to tick in the box the species that you've seen already, and there'll be a few more to add at the bottom. So that goes on. I've given you lots of pages with the hope that there are lots of species. lots of pages. And then the back page is just anything else of interest that you see, any other species as you're walking around. And doing photographic monitoring, the sites that I've given you, if you'd like to continue to monitor those in the following years, it'd be really nice because you'll get a feel of what's happening on that site and you'll get to know it. So if you thought to yourself that there's somewhere in particular that you can see a nice view of the whole field or a specific plant that you think is quite interesting, you could do fixed point photography and take a photograph there every year that you go and see if there's a change across the site. So that'd be quite interesting. But the back page is just anything else of interest that you see. So hopefully the form's quite self-explanatory.
But you're not saying that, say you do your survey on the 14th of July this year, next year it doesn't have to be on the 14th of July. It's
Similar times.
yeah, yeah.
No, we're not
Yeah.
to a day.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the sort of survey seasons.
Mm-hmm.
How many times?
Just once.
Just once?
Just the once each year is sufficient.
Oh, right.
Should we ever go to doing some ID?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, so the Linking Landscapes project that this is part of, what we're trying to do is across the national park we've identified all the best bits of habitat, so that could be grassland or woodland, wetland, rivers, and we're trying to make the best bits as good as they can be, but also as important as doing that is joining them up. So the sites where I'm asking you to do the surveys are new sites that we've identified, so at the moment they might not be brilliant and might not have masses of species, but they're an important corridor from one site to the next. So by encouraging better habitat, species can move around from site and don't get isolated. That's sort of the background to the sites that we're given. So in this first year, don't get sort of disheartened if there's not so many things. Hopefully as time goes on, more species will be in. The species list that you provide us will show us whether that's happening. So we might have to change management or we can sort of bring seeding from other sites and bring change what we're doing. You're also providing us with background information so we can make sure we're doing the right thing. Does that sound alright?
Yeah.
Right, so where's the governing? I wondered whether should we split into two groups or all do the first one together or something? I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Shall I do
First
the
one.
I'll
Yeah.
do the first one together and then split into two groups so we
Mhm.
can start the W each other. So I think the governing starts over there somewhere.
This one quite well. The only purpose is
It's just beyond us.
yeah.
A metre square in front of us. That's as accurate as it needs to be. So we're literally looking at the metre square and writing down the species that you find within that square in the species list. And then this would be stop number 1. So you're ticking to say that you've seen that species.
Right.
If we all want to do, I don't know if we'll stand in a row and do the metre equivalents or do the same one. So it's just get in there and see what we can find. Everybody help each other and I won't know all the answers and I'm sure I'll do a lot of people possible than I am.
We start off with Quay, but Quay blade, does it?
No, I haven't got
Blade.
one.
Yeah.
Have a look which one. shall we?
Good day.
You need Vinci
Well,
then,
bring your
dear
books.
Jenny, to be able to
Yeah.
He'd then make you key it out, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And if you've forgotten what he told you during the winter, you were pressing down.
Oh really? But you hadn't taken it all in?
And that could be enough food.
Well, it's like that, but there's only one on it.
Digging down.
So you see it's either these two.
Or that one.
There we go then. What kind of spike clips has it got?
That's the rough,
Oh,
isn't
yes.
it? Yeah.
That's something I've learned today.
Yes.
Today, isn't it? Yes.
I'll look better as well.
Never mind the flowers, just like
Right.
Preston.
I think this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's here in front of me, look. So close I can't see it.
What's that? Is that a cuckoo flower?
Yeah.
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 Full flower.
I'm trying not to squash the twig leaves.
They're so rare round here. Treating them with disrespect now.
Amy, have you spoiled them though? By bringing them here and then everybody's going to get to the meadow and go,
And there's going to be nothing, I know. We're going to have
what's she sent us here for?
We're going to have partridge